No, signor.
How are you, friends? Today, we're going to explain a movie that was released in 2015. It's a movie where we'll see a family's head facing many challenges to save their broken relationships. The name of the movie is God Willing. This is Tom, and he is a famous doctor. He successfully completes every operation without any mistakes. He is an excellent doctor. Then we see a patient's family anxiously waiting to know about the patient's condition. Tom informs them that the operation was successful. Hearing this, the patient's family becomes very happy and thanks him and God. Upon seeing this, Tom gets angry and says that the patient's recovery is in the hands of the doctor, not God's. When Tom comes home in the afternoon, his wife Carla greets him warmly. Although she is living happily, she feels lonely because Tom is always very busy. Their children have grown up and are busy with their lives. Carla has started drinking alcohol. She feels like she has lost the purpose of life. During dinner, she talks to her son Andrea, asking him to pass medical school quickly so that he doesn't feel embarrassed in front of his doctor friends. Carla explains to him that there is no need to worry. Getting into medical university is a big deal in itself. Meanwhile, their daughter Bianca comes with her husband Johnny, feeling proud to have achieved a big project with him. But Tom doesn't show much interest in Johnny's success or conversations. After dinner, Andrea asks for permission to go out with excuses, and a person comes to pick him up. Tom feels that Andrea's behavior is a bit strange. When Tom was going to bed, he talked to Carla about it, but Carla didn't take it seriously. She thought maybe Andrea has a girlfriend. That's why he's behaving a bit differently. During this time, Tom asked why he always meets boys if he really has a girlfriend. Carla also became worried after hearing this. The next day, after work at home, Carla told Tom that Andrea has said that he wants all family members to gather tonight because he has something special to say to everyone. Then one night when all the family members are gathered, Andrea started talking. He revealed that he always wanted to become a priest. Upon hearing this, everyone was surprised and they all hugged Andrea. But Tom got angry that his son wants to become a priest. He has never believed in God. Tom, in anger, leaves from there while speaking. The next morning, Bianca, who is still confused, goes to Andrea's room and asks him why he wants to become a priest. Andrea replied that if she doesn't read the Bible, she will never understand. Then he gave her the Bible and said to read it first. Then if she has any questions, he will gladly answer them. After that, Carla came and she asked the same question. Andrea told her that before reading these teachings, he used to feel like his life had no purpose. He used to smile from the outside but always felt confused from the inside. Since he read about God, his life has become peaceful. He wants his mother to feel this peace too because he knows that she also feels such emptiness inside. On the other hand, Bianca started reading the Bible to pass the time. At first, she didn't take it seriously, but soon she became interested in it. In the afternoon, when Tom came home and saw Andrew reading the Bible in his room, he became even more worried. Then he went to Bianca's house to ask her to explain something to Andrew, but Bianca was busy watching religious movies. Then Tom gave up hope of any help from her. Then he decided to ask Jenny for help. That night while Carla was watching TV, she was thinking about Andrea's words. She told Tom that she stayed at home every day and had no purpose in her life. She felt lonely, and you don't take care of me like before. During their conversation, Andrew asked permission to go outside. Tom quickly follows him. Tom and Jenny quietly follow Andrew while riding on a motorcycle until they reach a building where a priest named Petro is giving a lecture on life events. Everyone listens to him attentively, but Tom shows no interest. The next day, at the office, they discuss yesterday's events. Tom is convinced that Petro is a wrong person and has brainwashed his son. Jenny reassures Tom not to worry. She has a problem-solving expert in mind. Jenny arranges for a professional detective to keep an eye on Petro. After a few days, the detective provides Tom with secret information about Petro. It only includes normal pictures of Petro's daily life, like eating ice cream, playing football, and doing other routine activities. Tom gets angry and dismisses the detective. He refuses to accept defeat and decides to go to the police station to find out more about Petro. Coincidentally, he already knows the police chief. The police chief informs him that Petro had been to jail several times before but eventually repented and became a priest. However, Tom still doesn't believe it. He thinks Petro is hiding his true identity as a priest and is up to something sinister. He wants Petro to be arrested immediately, but the police chief refuses, stating they have no proof of any wrongdoing. Tom insists that sooner or later, he will find some proof. During dinner, Andrew suddenly announces that he shared his desire to become a priest with Petro and hence, he won't be going to college. Tom is shocked to hear this. After dinner, Tom goes to Andrew's room and explains that he doesn't agree with his decision. Andrew mistakenly thinks his father is supporting him. Seeing Andrew's happiness, Tom doesn't reveal the truth. The next night, Tom goes to the place where Petro gives lectures to gather evidence against him. After the lecture, he immediately approaches Petro for help and tells him about his difficult life with no job and no money. Petro doesn't believe him and walks away. Tom follows him to the parking area, but Petro is busy. He promises to meet him at the church. Finally, Tom agrees. The next day, Tom goes to the church where Petro is repairing. Tom tells him that if he's a priest, he must be a good person and will help others. He even says Petro can do illegal work. On the other hand, Carla attends an alumni association reunion party. She speaks speaks up for justice amidst the discussion about the government's misconduct, and the young students applaud her courage. The next day, while Tom is getting ready for surgery at the hospital, Petro suddenly calls him and asks to meet him. Tom thinks Petro wants him to do something illegal. He quickly goes to meet him. When they meet, Petro asks Tom if he can use a knife. Tom replies that he is good with it. Tom had thought that Petro wanted to harm someone with a knife. Then they go to a pizza place, and it turns out the task was just to slice pizzas, and since Tom had already agreed, he had no other option. After a while, Petro starts working, and when he leaves, Tom hands the knife to a customer and tells them to use it themselves before leaving as well. That night at the church, Petro was angry because the work Tom wasted was hard to come by. Tom explains that he had to leave suddenly because there was an urgent need at home, as his wife was angry, and his younger brother had a mental issue that needed attention. Upon hearing this, Petro is skeptical but agrees to come to Tom's house on Friday. When Tom shared the problem with Jenny at her office, the detective was also present there and suggested a solution. He said they could use Tom's house, and Jenny's brother could pretend to be a mentally ill patient. Tom asked his colleague Rosa to act as his wife for a day. She just had to play the role of an angry wife who lashes out at her husband due to her anger. Rosa immediately agreed. When Friday came, they all sat together at the dining table. Seeing his condition, Petro was convinced that Tom had handled his family well. When Rosa heard that Tom had quit his job, she immediately took advantage of the situation to vent her anger on Tom. In a fit of rage, she starts hitting Tom forcefully. As Petro was about to leave, he promised to help Tom as much as he could. He told Tom to contact him if he had any problems. Tom felt relieved that his plan had worked perfectly. When Tom returned home in the afternoon, he met Andrew, who had just come home. In Andrew's room, Tom saw Petro, who had stayed at Tom's house. Tom was surprised, but what was strange was that Petro was preoccupied and didn't recognize Tom. Then he asked Tom to leave the room because he needed to talk to Andrew about something important. After Petro finished talking to Andrew, Tom and Petro sat on the roof, where Petro asked Tom why he had lied to him. Tom explained everything. He didn't want his beloved son to leave his bright future and meet a stranger. Whatever the reason, Tom had done wrong. Tom apologized for lying. Petro said he would forgive him, but on one condition. Tom had to help in the old church for a month. Once the church was repaired, Petro promised to convince Andrew not to become a priest. Tom agreed to this condition. After many days had passed, one day, while cleaning the garden, Tom asked Petro why he was fixing this old church that is no longer in use. Why not another church? Petro told him that when his mother was alive, she often used to go to this church, because when she was alive, she didn't have time to please her, so he wanted to fix her mother's favorite church. Besides, Petro said that it is necessary to do good deeds in life so that God forgives their sins. When Tom heard this, he got angry and said that he had never committed any sins, and if God really exists, then God should be grateful to him because he has become a doctor and has saved many lives. Tom complained as he entered the church. The next day, while checking on patients at the hospital, Tom saw Carla on TV participating in a student protest. Tom became worried and went home. Carla's condition was bad, but when Tom tried to treat her, Carla angrily kicked him out of the room. During dinner that night, Jenny told Tom that Bianca had started watching religious lectures for a few days. It felt strange to him, but he was also happy. On the other hand, their relationship was getting better. In the midst of conversation, Bianca, who had just come out of her mother's room, said that her mother still doesn't want to talk to Tom. Tom casually mentioned this matter, saying that he should be left alone when he heard that Bianca was angry because her father only thinks about himself and doesn't value the feelings of his family. He gave Tom a scolding similar to Jenny's, who always cares about her wife's feelings. After venting her anger, Bianca immediately left and Jenny was surprised. The next day, Tom met Petro in the church, who was reciting someone's prayer. When it was over, Tom mentioned the difficulties of his family. Listening to his story, Petro took Tom somewhere. They reached a hill. Petro told Tom that whenever he feels sad and wants to be alone, he comes here. Petro said he told him about this place because he considers Tom his friend. Tom asked if Petro believes in the existence of God. Petro calmly explained that whatever they feel and experience, everything is in God's hands. Like the warm sunshine of the sun that touches the body, the cool breeze that blows through the hair, and from the tree to the fallen fruits, everything is God's will. Listening to Petro's explanation, Tom began to smile. The next morning, while going to work in the car, Tom thought and remembered Bianca's words. The truth was that in this era, he had always been selfish and never cared about his family's feelings. Feeling guilty, Tom decided to stay at his daughter's house. When the door opened, Tom immediately came in and hugged Bianca tightly and apologized to her. That night at home, Tom invited Carla to dinner. He even cooked his wife's favorite food himself. At that moment, from the depths of his heart, Tom apologized to her. He promised that he would now spend more time with his family. Seeing Carla's changed behavior towards Tom, both of them continued their beloved dinner. The next afternoon, when Tom finished cleaning the house, Petro informed him that it had been exactly a month and according to the agreement, Tom could stop helping. But instead of being happy, Tom decided to continue working. Hearing this, Petro was happy, and then he asked Tom to go home and talk to Andrew. Tom had to tell the truth that he did not agree with Andrew becoming a priest, although he was afraid that his son would not be upset. Tom tried to follow Petro's advice, and when he arrived home and entered Andrew's room, he was surprised to see Andrew alone with a girl. Andrew doesn't want his father to misunderstand him. Last month, Andrea immediately explained everything when they attended a lecture with Petro, and Andrew met a girl and fell in love with her. Because of this, he couldn't understand whether he should continue to pursue becoming a priest or not. Last month, he didn't have the courage to tell the truth because he was afraid of disappointing his father. Tom hugged his son and said that changing one's mind is common, and whatever decision he makes, his father will support him. Tom then tried to explain to him that he should talk to Petro about this issue and he would help him. But then Andrew said that Petro already found out about this last month when they came home. When Tom heard this, he was surprised because it meant that he had only been working all this time to clean the church. Suddenly, Tom received a call to go to the hospital for work. When he reached the elevator, the nurse told him that the patient was in a very serious condition. Surprisingly, it was Petro. After a few hours of surgery, Petro's life was saved. Tom's doctor friend told him that if it weren't for a miracle from God, Petro would have died. This fact troubled Tom usually, but upon hearing it, Tom fell silent and began to think. When Tom came out, Andrew and Petro were waiting in a group. Then Tom told Petro's condition and told Andrew to call him immediately if anything happened because they had to go somewhere at night. During the night, Tom was cleaning the church. Although he still didn't have complete faith in God for some reason, yet he was thankful and continued to clean the church for saving his friend's life. In the morning, the old church was cleaned, all the paint stains were removed, and the benches were neatly arranged. On the other side, Tom sat alone on the hill, at Petro's favorite spot, in search of fresh air and warm sunshine. Tom smiled and remembered Petro's words, and here, this movie ends. Thank you for your attention.